Today we're diving into Narcotics Anonymous Step 3.
That's Septorm. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him.
Right. And our goal here, our mission for you listening,
Is to really get under the hood of Step 3. We're using the NA Basic Text, the 6th edition,
it works. How and why?
and the NA Stepworking Guides.
We want to help you really grasp it, and feel ready to actually work this step, apply its principles.
Yeah, we'll break down the definitions, look at why it's an active decision,
Explore that idea of God as we understood him, which is pretty key.
and talk about how it's an ongoing thing, not just a one-time deal.
Plus how those step working guides can be like a practical tool for all this.
You might even have a few aha moments.
Oh.
Let's hope so.
Okay, so that phrase, made a decision. Let's start right there. What does decision actually mean in this context?
Well, it's interesting because all the sources really hit on this. It's not just, wishing something would happen.
Right.
The notes in the older basic text, the 4th ed, they called it a firm commitment to live by a new code.
A firm commitment. So a real choice.
Definitely, a willful choice. And it works. It says it's a readiness to move from wishful thinking into purposeful action.
Oh, I like that. Purposeful action. It's about doing, not just hoping.
Exactly. And then the step working guides, they frame it as the act of marking a point of no return.
Wow. Point of no return.
Yeah, and they even have that decision worksheet to kind of help you make that mark,
So it's moving past just understanding the idea in your head.
to really feeling it, accepting it deep down that, okay, this is it. Time for a change.
Okay, so decision means active commitment. What about turn our will and our lives over? That part
Yeah.
can sound pretty daunting.
It absolutely can. But, if you think back to step 1,
Admitting powerlessness, life being unmanageable.
right, once you've really grasped that, turning things over starts to seem less scary and maybe more necessary.
Like, okay, my way wasn't working, so maybe I should try something else.
Precisely. The basic text talks about stopping the fight, ceasing fighting reality.
And letting your higher power guide your thoughts and actions.
Yes. And it really stresses that this is a daily choice.
Daily. Okay, that's crucial, not a one-off.
Not at all. And comes at it slightly differently, describing it as the process of relinquishing the ego's need for control moment by moment.
Moment by moment. That sounds like constant work.
It is, in a way, a constant letting go. And the stepworking guides, they make it practical again, right at the start of these Step 3 worksheets.
What do they say?
They suggest we place our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors onto the higher power's care.
Okay, so the basic text is like, do this daily. It works, is let go moment by moment. And the guides are, here's how you can place things in that care.
You got it. Different angles on the same core action.
Okay. Now, the big one for many people, God as we understood him.
Yeah, and the emphasis really is on as we understood him.
It seems like the literature goes out of its way to make that clear.
It really does. The basic text says it's our concept, not someone else's. It explicitly mentions things like nature or love or even collective wisdom.
So no dogma pushed on you.
None at all. It's incredibly inclusive. It echoes this, saying it's any power greater than self found within or without, as each defines.
Within or without. That opens up a lot of possibilities.
Absolutely. And the stepworking guides, they just consistently use the phrase, your chosen image or idea of a higher power.
It keeps bringing it back to your understanding.
Every time. It's about finding something that holds meaning and power for you personally.
So putting it together. Step 3 is this active, committed choice to stop driving the bus yourself, basically, and hand the wheel over to this higher power, whatever that looks like for you personally.
That's a good way to put it.
But why this step? Why is making this decision such a pivotal moment?
Well, think about the flow. Step 1, I can't. Step 2, maybe something else can.
Okay.
Step 3 is, okay, I'm going to let it. It's the direct response to the hope you found in step 2. You're taking that belief and making it active.
So it requires willingness. That word comes up a lot.
Oh, massively. Willingness is like the fuel for step 3. It's this readiness to just try a different way.
Even if it feels weird or unfamiliar.
Especially then, maybe. It's being willing to let go of those old coping mechanisms, the addictive thinking, the self-reliance that wasn't really working anyway.
You mentioned reservations earlier, implicitly.
Nah.
Letting go of those parts that still want to hold back.
Exactly. Those little corners of your life or your thinking where you're like, no, I still got this. Step 3 asks for a willingness to challenge even those reservations.
And that ties back to the it works definition again.
Readiness to move from wishful thinking into purposeful action.
That willingness is the purposeful action, isn't it? Or at least the start of it.
It's the key that unlocks the action, absolutely. You decide to be willing.
Okay, so we understand the what and the why. But the how do you actually do this turning over? It still feels a bit abstract.
And that's precisely where the step working guides become so incredibly helpful.
Right. You mentioned them making it practical.
They really do. Their whole purpose is to take these, big spiritual principles and help you connect them to your actual life, your gut feelings, not just your brain.
How do they do that?
Well, the workbook questions, for instance, they don't just ask, are you willing? They ask you to write about specific times you tried to control things.
So you see the pattern in your own experience.
Exactly. What happened? How did it feel? What were the results? It makes it real for you.
And that decision worksheet you mentioned, page 24.
Yeah, it's a concrete tool. It asks you to write out your decision, making it a conscious, recorded act, marking that point of no return we talked about.
Okay. And you mentioned signs of opening. What's that about?
It's more subtle, but the guides encourage you, often through reflection, to notice moments where maybe you did let go a little, even accidentally.
And things worked out okay. Or even better.
Right. It builds evidence, builds trust in this idea of letting go, showing it's not just about giving up, but opening up to something else.
And the personal reflection prompts. They dig deeper.
Yeah, they often nudge you to explore the feelings, the fears, the hopes connected to making this big decision, the emotional, spiritual side of it.
Making it a whole person experience, not just intellectual.
Precisely. And then, really importantly, there are the actionable next steps.
Okay, what are those?
They help you translate the insights you've gained into small, manageable things you can actually do each day to practice turning things over.
So it connects the big decision to everyday life.
Exactly. And doing this with a sponsor, someone who's been there.
Can provide invaluable support and perspective. Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Now, we touched on this, but let's revisit it. The basic text saying, turn our will daily. How does that continuous action work?
It's so important. The initial decision is like setting the course on a map. But the daily turning over is like actually steering the ship day by day, sometimes moment by moment, to stay on that course.
So surrender isn't a one-time event.
Not in practice. It's an ongoing process. Remember, it works talking about relinquishing the ego's need for control moment by moment.
Yeah.
That's the daily practice. It ties right into that whole just for today idea in NA.
Focus on right now, this decision, this action.
Exactly. Don't worry about surrendering perfectly forever. Just for today, can you practice turning things over in this situation right now?
That makes it feel much less overwhelming.
It does. It's the difference between the big, maybe slightly scary commitment and the sustained practical effort of living it out.
And does this connect to later steps?
Absolutely. Think about step 10, the daily inventory. That's essentially checking in. How did I do today with living by these principles? Did I turn things over or did I try to take control back?
Okay. It's a feedback loop.
Exactly. And step 11, seeking knowledge of God's will and the power to carry it out.
That sounds like it gives direction to the daily turning over.
Precisely. It's not just aimless surrender. It's seeking guidance for how to align your will and actions with your higher power's care.
So step 3 isn't just floating out there on its own. How does it fit into the whole structure of the 12 steps?
It's really a linchpin, a crucial bridge.
A bridge between what?
Between the foundation, acknowledging the problem in step 1, and finding hope in step 2, and all the action steps that come after. Like step 4, the searching and fearless moral inventory.
You need the willingness from step 3 to even start step 4, right?
Absolutely. How can you look honestly at yourself if you're not willing to be guided by something beyond your own ego and defenses? That willingness, that decision made in step 3 is vital.
And for step 6, too.
Yeah.
Becoming ready for change.
Same thing. Step 3 is where you cultivate that fundamental readiness to let a higher power work in your life, which is essential for being ready to have defects of character removed.
And the faith from step 2 gets put into action here.
It does. Faith moves from a passive belief to an active trust. And humility is huge here, too.
Humility? How so?
Well, deciding to turn your will over requires admitting that your own way wasn't the best way. That takes humility, recognizing you need help. that you're not the center of the universe.
And that connects to the bigger theme of surrender running through NA.
Exactly. Surrender starts in step 1, but it gets really conscious and active in step 3. It's a cornerstone principle for the whole recovery journey.
Okay. Wow. We've covered a lot of ground.
Huh.
Let's try and distill this. What are the absolute key takeaways for someone listening about step 3?
Okay. Number 1, it's an active decision, not passive wishing. It's driven by willingness.
Willingness to try a new way.
Right. Number 2, it involves developing your own personal understanding of a higher power. Whatever that means for you, it's inclusive.
Dogma.
No dogma. Number 3, it's an ongoing daily practice of surrendering control moment by moment.
Not one and done.
Definitely not. And finally, the step working guides are really practical tools to help you personalize this step and put it into action.
Making it real for your life.
Making it real. It's a huge turning point, moving from just believing change is possible to actively choosing the path that makes it happen.
So here's something for you to think about, maybe chew on after this.
Yeah.
Consider one specific area of your life right now where this idea of turning it over feels really, really hard, maybe the most challenging part.
Okay.
Just think about it. What might even one tiny small step towards letting go in that specific area look like for you?
That's a powerful reflection.
It's just something to consider. Maybe discuss it with a sponsor or just sit with it.
Something to consider deeply. Thanks for exploring all this with us on the Deep Dive.
Yeah, thank you for taking this this deep dive into NA Step 3 with us. Our whole goal here is just to give you a clear pathway to understanding it without, getting buried in information.
And we really hope you'll take this conversation and go back to the sources, the basic text, works, the guides, and see them with maybe some fresh eyes.
Yeah, hopefully this has given you some valuable insights, maybe made you feel a bit more ready to really engage with Step 3 yourself.
We certainly hope so. It's a journey.
Keep going, keep breathing, keep surrendering, and just remember, you're definitely not doing this alone.